In terms of Ukraine and Russia, where does this whole thing go? How does this war ultimately end? What's going on with
What do you
these
think of the
meetings?
summit, also broadly speaking? Like,
Yes, I mean, these are all great questions. The outcome of Russia-Ukraine really hasn't changed that much since like the first time I started talking about it in 2022. Russia's going to keep the territory that it took. It's not going to give that territory up. There's a multitude of reasons why it wants the Donbass region, from resources to industrial investments that it made when it was the USSR, to the blood that stains the battlefields, to the fact that it needs a Russian victory. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why it's not going to give it the Donbass. And Putin understands statesmanship more than Zelensky. So Zelensky promised his people not only would he get back all of the original Ukraine, but he would get back all of the pre-1996 Ukraine. So it was an impossible promise. So no matter how this thing ends, if any piece of land remains in Russian territory, Zelensky loses, according to Putin. So he just wants that.
Yeah, okay.
Right? He wants that because he needs to rebuild an economy that's been built on a war machine for the last 3 years. Then he knows that he needs to have something to kind of offset. We're not going to be fighting a war, so how are we going to float the economy? Oh, it's going to be great if we're building infrastructure and basically resettling this new part of Russia.
Oh, okay. So it's not just for like PR or whatever. It's we need to rebuild this, and that's going to pump our economy.
Correct. That's going to hold us up. That's how we got through World War II, too. Our economy blew up in World War II because we were creating weapons of destruction.
Yeah.
But then we won. The only reason we didn't go into a massive recession is because now all of a sudden we could go into the lands that we conquered and build them up too. Put them in debt, force them to use our labor, right?
Who do we do that with?
Who did we do that with?
Yeah.
Germany, Japan, Britain, Poland, France,
Really?
all of them.
Is this common knowledge?
Well, I don't know if it's common knowledge, but if you look at history critically, you'll see it's all there. We just never got taught that in school.
Yeah, what we got taught is because World War I, we were so hard on Germany, they went into a depression, and that's what allowed Hitler to take power.
Yep.
And some people on X are very upset that he lost. But then we were much nicer at the end of World War II when we made sure that it would never happen again.
So you've heard the saying that history is written by the
victors. Yeah, okay.
We wrote that history. Japan's culture was completely different prior to the end of World War II. Everything we know about Japanese culture now is from American abuses of the Japanese. The reason they're workaholics, the reason they smoke to stay awake and drink to go to sleep, the reason that they
sexual repression,
and then they shame themselves and they shame their children if they don't get a good enough to. All of that is American.
What are the abuses? Like, I'm not even making a joke. What can you give me an example of like how you do that?
So when we were rebuilding Japan, we basically indentured Japanese to rebuild their own country at our pace, according to our direction and our demands.
Wow.
So they didn't get to rebuild the way that they wanted to. They didn't get to rebuild buildings according to their architecture. They built what we wanted them to build. And a big chunk of what they built was American invested money in buildings, infrastructure, and manufacturing base.
but they got baseball. So to get with the bed.
Yeah.
Man,
There you go.
if they only knew Americans are fat and lazy, they wouldn't work so well.
This podcast goes to Japan. You know what I mean?
But then you look at the Japanese economy now and you're like, well, in a way, their rebuilding efforts were successful.
Yeah. And that's the argument.
Economically.
That's the counter argument for sure. Right? You look at Europe, who are Europe's two strongest economies?
Germany,
And France.
France, and
we
UK
rebuilt them both.
pre-Brexit would have been UK, right?
We built all three of those countries on forced debt, on loans, on the outsourcing of American manufacturing, and they became the first markets that we spread to when we started creating new products and financial products and
There's even
telecommunication products.
a version of this kind of story in like Central America with like Nicaragua and like the United States sort of working with, you know, different leaders, potential dictators, and deposing them, setting up our government systems, getting them into debt in some capacity, giving them our funding to then support all those issues.
So who is the fastest growing economy in the world? I'm sure you guys know this, even if all you do is follow X. Fastest growing economy in the world?
China.
China.
Okay.
How did China grow so quickly?
Give me.
The same way that we grew after World War II.
This is Belt and Road.
When we stuck our heads so deep in the Middle East for 20 years that all we were doing was checking under every rock for terrorists, we were the only ones fighting that fight. The whole time that we were doing that, China was pulling from our World War II playbook, and they were working with despots. They were creating leases and loans with third world countries that knew they couldn't pay them back, exporting Chinese workers, exporting Chinese technology, Chinese telecommunications that was being stolen from the United States and then remade in the Chinese brand. Like that's how they built their economy in 20 years. We looked away, they were small. We looked back, they were huge. Right? And that's how they did it. So the world still works the same way. The reason the United States sees China as such a threat has nothing to do with Taiwan. It has nothing to do with Chinese bombing America. It's because China has literally copied our playbook and they've got a 20-year head start in the last 25 years on how to do it. Right? We created just as another example, the United States became really, really wealthy when we devised telecommunications and financial products, because now these are not tangible products, right? This is something where you can service 100,000 people from a single satellite, and you can charge all of them $200 a month, right? That's scalable wealth. That's not building a widget or creating a can of tuna, right? China did the same thing. They were like, oh, look at how America's growing by creating financial and telecommunications. So let's spy on the United States, steal their industrial secrets, create those things here in China, tweak them a little bit, and then sell them cheaper to the same markets, to South America, to Africa, to Europe. And then let's also borrow from America this idea of switching cost. Do you guys all have Apple? Does anybody have something other than Apple?
Apple.
Even if you don't like Apple, you'll probably never get off of Apple because it's too difficult to get off of Apple.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think Huawei did? It's too difficult to get off of Huawei. So we're going to build this internal switching cost where no one's going to get off of our technology, because to get off of our technology means it hurts. There's a data transfer that's complicated. You're going to lose data for sure. And whatever you're getting on is going to be more expensive. So do you really want to get on an American system, or do you want to stay on a Chinese system? Do you want an American electrical vehicle or a Chinese EV?
Not even a fucking question.
Do you want an American telecommunication? Do you want an American cell phone or a Chinese cell phone?
I'm not even saying this as a joke. When I saw the Chinese EVs, I was like, we're cooked. We're done. We're number 2 now. And I don't know if that's remotely intelligent, but that is truly how I felt.
So that is China. China is not innovative, and they've never claimed to be. But they steal and they promote and they drive and they play the long game. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And that's why economists continue to predict that China will be at parity or near parity with the United States by 2030. Because you can't fight a war over telecommunications. You can't fight a war over medical devices. You can't invade that country because they stole your code for building a battery for a car. It doesn't work.
Is there any chance we can catch up / reestablish our lead?
There's always the opportunity. There's always
What do
a
you
chance.
see? How do you see that happening?
I don't know how, or else I would say how. But what I do trust is American innovation, and I do trust American entrepreneurial spirit. And those are things that we have that have gotten us out of worse situations in the past.
Okay, so we have been in worse situations. In the past, let's say
the Great
50
Depression
years.
was pretty shitty.
Let's
We
say
got through
50
that.
years.
So 50 years takes us back to 75.
Maybe even we could go World War II if we want. I guess Soviet Union maybe was worse than this at some point.
And actually, it's a great point,
Cold
because
War?
the only reason we won the Cold War is because the Soviet Union imploded. And we didn't know it was going to implode, but it imploded.
And you see that potential with China?
That's also the potential here too.
Yeah.
But yes. So there's always room for something unexpected to happen. But when it comes to what we can do, like inside the United States, you have so many people who are small business owners. You have so many people who are engineering their own future. You guys are all engineering your own future. Do any of you come from a family wealthier than you?
No.
Nope.
Like, that's fucking crazy. It's hard to do that in
My
China.
parents are fucking poor. Losers. Fucking losers.